to give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
It's dead real. Yo, why is Jada Kiss as hard as it gets? Why is the industry designed to keep the artists in debt? And why them dudes ain't riding if they party your set? And why they never get it poppin' but they party to death? Yeah, and why they gon' give you life for a murder? Turn around, only give you 8 months for going down. Why they selling people CDs for under a dime? And if it's all love, daddy, why you come with your... Why my homies ain't get that cake? Why it's a brother up north better than Jordan that ain't get that break? Why you ain't stack instead of trying to be fly? Why is ratting at an all-time high? Why are you even alive? Why they kill Tupac and Chris? Why at the bar you don't take straight shots instead of popping Chris? Why them bullets have to hit that door? Why did Kobe have to hit that raw? Why he kissed that broad? Why?
All that I've been given is this pain that I've been living. They got me in the system. Why they gotta do me like that? Try to make it my way, but got sent on up the highway. Why? Oh, why?
Yeah. Yo, why do people push pounds and powder? Why they knock down the towers? Why you around them cowards? Why Aaliyah have to take that flight? Why my homie D ain't pull out his Ferrari? Why he take that bike? Why they gotta open your package and read your mail? Why they stop letting brothers get degrees in jail? Why you gotta do 85% of your time? And why do rappers lie in 85% of their rhymes? Why a brother always want what he can't have? Why I can't come through in the pecan jag? Why they crack have to hit so hard even though it's almost over? Why people can't get no jobs? Why they come up with the witness protection? Why they let the Terminator win the election? Come on, pay attention. Why I sell in the stores what you can sell in the streets? Why I say the hottest but be selling the least? Why?
Why? Welcome to Areva Martin in real time. I'm your special guest host, Farajii Muhammad, and this is KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of questions, but today we're going to try to get some answers. I thank y'all so much for tuning in and joining me in the conversation. Big shout out to my sister Areva Martin for once again allowing me to just sit in her seat to fill it in just for a little bit, just for while she take care of her business. I'm going to try to take care of the business with you, but I thank each and every one of you for joining me today. We have a fantastic show lined up for you. We're going to be hearing some powerful, powerful voices, and I can't express to you how excited I am to really hear what these brothers have to say and how much analysis and insight they're going to bring to these conversations. But before we get to my brothers, I want to invite you first and foremost to make sure that you do your due diligence and follow us and join us in the conversations. Even though we're on air right now, you could join the conversation online. We are streaming right now at the KBLA on the KBLA stream on YouTube. You can follow KBLA Talk 1580 stream on YouTube. You can follow us on all of the social media platforms of KBLA 1580 on social media. You can check us out on our website at kbla1580.com. And we're just making sure that we are leaving a print on social media, on cyberspace, and we can't do that without you folks, so make sure that you support us there. Also, make sure you follow my big sister, Areva Martin, who is doing a fantastic job. She's always keeping us informed about what's going on, giving her insight, and she's bringing so much to the game, as they say, but make sure y'all follow her on all social media at Areva Martin, Areva Martin, on social media. We also can follow me, The Real Farajii. That's right, folks. You can follow me, Farajii Muhammad. I'm at The Real Farajii on Instagram. I would love to connect with you, hear what you got to say, talk to me about your thoughts, and share your insights about all that we're going to talk about today. So make sure y'all do that at the Real Farajii. And I am super, super excited about the brothers that we have joining me in this first hour and the second hour. Let me start with the second hour, folks, because the second hour it's just as fire as the first hour. But the second hour, first, we're going to be checking in with a brother who's doing some extraordinary work. He serves as the executive director from the African American Research Collaborative. My brother Henry Fernandez is going to be joining us in a little bit to talk to us a little bit about engagement of black voters, especially now. So we're going to have an in-depth conversation with Henry Fernandez, the executive director from the African American Research Collaborative. Now, before that conversation, I am joined by two dynamic brothers. The first one, he is an associate professor in the Department of Sociology at Hunter CUNY. That's City University of New York. He is an author, and I'm happy to have him joining us here. And he is a well-known voice here on Areva Martin in real time. Dr. Calvin John Smiley is joining us in a few moments. And I'm also joined by my other brother. This brother, I don't even know how he keeps I don't even know if he has a watch, because he's all over the place. I just can't. He is always doing something fantastic and something great. And he is a political commentator. He is the host of the great show we have here on KBLA Talk 1580, A More Perfect Union. And he is the author of the book Kamala, The Motherland and Me. My brother, Dr. Nee Corte, he is joining me as well here in a few minutes. So I'm very, very excited to hear from Dr. Nee as we have these conversations. And folks, I cannot thank you for tuning in. And there might be an opportunity, Andy, for us to get some calls in today. Let's see how the conversation flows a little bit and see if we can get some folks checking in from all around the city of Los Angeles and LA County to kind of share their thoughts about what's going on as we talk politics and so much more. So let's bring in our brothers, Dr. Calvin John Smiley, Dr. Nee Corte. Dr. Calvin, thank you so much, brother, for joining us once again here on Areva Martin. How you feeling this afternoon?
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. I'm always excited to be here. So thank you for that introduction.
Absolutely. And Dr. Nee, my brother. Come on, man. Come on,
man. My brother, Farajii Muhammad. Look, when I am in the company of Brother Farajii and Brother Dr. Calvin, I know I'm where I need to be.
You know, that's it. That's how we do. That is exactly how we do. That is exactly it, brother. That is exactly it. All right, let's start this off, and then we're gonna, we'll take a quick pause as we get these conversations started. First and foremost, the big announcements, Dr. Nee, I'm gonna start this with you, brother. The big announcement, of course, is coming from the fact that Donald Trump had a presser. He had a press event, which was an hour-long press conference that he hosted at his, I don't know, can we say compound, his facility? But he had a press event today, it was a wide-ranging press conference, and he announced that he has confirmed to do a debate with Vice President Harris that is now set for September the 10th. He also said that he has confirmed to do other two debates, one on September 4th and one on September 25th. This one on September 10th is for ABC. It's going to be hosted by the ABC network. And then on September 4th, he said that's going to be hosted by Fox. And then September 25th is going to be hosted by NBC. So, Dr. Nee, let's talk a little bit about this. This is the debate that everybody has been talking about. Vice President Harris said that the words are infamous at this point. If you got something to say it to my face. And he was kind of flip-flopping about whether he would go head-to-head with the vice president. Now he said it is on. The vice president said that she is looking forward to the conversation or to the debate. What say you, Dr. Nee?
Well, not only has the former president been flip-flopping on this question of whether or not he will debate Vice President Harris, but he has been flailing. His campaign's been flailing. He hasn't known what to do since she became the Democratic presidential nominee, since she announced Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota as her VP pick. He hasn't known what to do with that. And the Trump campaign is trying to figure out what is going to stick. They're trying very hard to define Vice President Harris and define Governor Tim Walz as these raging liberals, as these folks that are trying to pull the country far to the left. And unfortunately, the facts just don't bear out. You know, so many of the things that Governor Tim Walz was able to get done in Minnesota, so many of the things that Vice President Harris and President Biden have aspired to get done in office, and with some indication of what she would do, what she would want to do as president, it's not far to the left of where the American people are. It's actually where the consensus is. Most Americans want common sense gun safety laws. Most Americans believe that the government shouldn't have a say in what women do with their body when it comes to their reproductive rights. Most Americans, most everyday Americans, you know, believe in the protection of our fundamental freedoms. And, you know, that's where Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz are at. Guess what? That's not where former President Trump and Senator Vance are at. In fact, they're proposing Project 2025, which would turn back the clock, you know, which would erode so many of the examples of progress that we've made across the country that have made lives better for people across the political spectrum. And so what we saw today was Trump unhinged. We saw a candidate for office that is not just rusty, but he is undisciplined. And we're going to watch that play out on the debate stage on September 10th on ABC. We are going to see some version of Thriller in Manila on the debate stage. This is going to be the Thriller on ABC News, and you can take that all the way to the bank.
Take that all the way to the bank. Dr. Calvin, I got a couple of moments before we got to take our first pause, but I want to get your thoughts about this very quickly, and then we'll move forward. What do you make of this now that the debate is set? How do you see this playing out, Doc?
Yeah, I think Dr. Nee hit a lot of things right on the head. And, you know, we're going to see Trump try to disrupt and be all types of shenanigans. But it's interesting now because he's now facing someone who is younger, who is sharper, who can do things that I don't think was preparing for when he was only up against Joe Biden, right? Yeah. I mean, we saw in that debate where both of them were actually Donald Trump allowed Joe Biden to kind of mess up on his own. He didn't really feel the need to really disrupt him so much. But I think we're going to see a lot of those old tricks from the former president. And so, yeah, I think it will be fireworks. It will certainly make a lot of memes and Black Twitter go crazy. And, yeah, his announcement today was ridiculous. He was talking all types of they're communist this, they're communist that. He was saying about how he has more people in his crowds than Dr. King at the March on Washington. I mean, he's all over the place, and we already know he's unhinged. And so we're just seeing that spiral continue because I think they are a bit worried now. You know, the GOP was prepared for the Biden-Harris ticket, not the Harris-Walz ticket.
Absolutely. Look, we're going to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's continue to have the conversation with Dr. Nee Cortez, Dr. Calvin John Smiley, as we're talking about the great debate that has now been set for September the 10th between Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump on ABC, and how this will play out. We'll continue to have the conversation on the other side. Folks, we're just getting started here on Areva Martin in real time. I'm Farajii Muhammad, your special guest host, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580. Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
Work is busy, and home, Mom, pretty much the same. But you wouldn't know it because my skin doesn't look stressed thanks to Olay Retinol Body Wash. Its hydrating formula is packed with vitamin B3 complex plus retinol. I use Olay Retinol Body Wash to transform my skin from dry to moisturized and visibly renewed. Sure, I still have stress, but my skin looks amazing. Try Olay Retinol Body Wash for visibly renewed skin in just 14 days. Also try Retinol 24 Body Lotion.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
And folks, we're going to be spending our time today talking about this great debate between Vice President Harris, former President Trump, that's set for September the 10th on ABC. And I'm joined by my brothers, Dr. Nee Cordelai-Corte and Dr. Calvin John Smiley. I'm your special guest host, Farajii Muhammad, sitting in for my sister Areva Martin here on KBLA Talk 1580. And Dr. Calvin, I want to kind of start this part of the conversation with you, because you said that this, just like Dr. Nee Cordelai said, that this is going to be a Thriller in a Manila type of situation here, but you tend to agree. But I'm wondering, Dr. Calvin, if there is, even though you said that Vice President Harris, she's sharper, she understands the talking points, she essentially understands the assignment. We cannot count Donald Trump out when it comes to a head-to-head matchup with these type of policies and these type of debates, when these type of forums. We just can't count him out. And, you know, one of our watchers, and we're streaming live right now on YouTube, so y'all can check us out on KBLA 1580's YouTube page. But one of our watchers made this point. Morris Phillips, you said, Morris, the rules of a debate say that you must answer the questions, and Trump don't answer questions, he filibusters. Dr. Calvin, how does a person who's coming in, even though he might filibusters about everything from the sun, the rain, the moon, and the stars and the mountains, before he gets to any answer about his policies or his vision, how does Vice President Harris make sure she stays on top of things, stays focused with a man who's all over the place?
So yeah, I mean, I think that's his gimmick, is that he's going to, go around the world across the street, and it's a way to confuse his opponent. So Vice President Harris has to, just stick to the facts and say things sharply and right to the point. I think she also needs to differentiate herself from Donald Trump. So, and what I mean by that is there's going to be certainly issues where he's going to try to twist her words, or he's going to, make something up. And she can't fall for the bait and switch, right? She can't, so let me give an example. He can't get up there and say, "We love Israel. I love Israel." She doesn't. She needs to stick to the facts of whatever her policy and things are going to do. She can't get up there and start saying, "Well, I love Israel more," because that's all of a sudden going to become too, downward spiral for what people are looking for. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, it's certainly going to be a day for Black Twitter and the memes and the snippets, the reels, and all that kind of stuff. The hope, though, is that she comes out on top looking good and has good talking points versus him looking like a buffoon.
Right. Well, and Dr. Nee, I want to get your take on that, because, I mean, does she come into this this head-to-head matchup kind of, and some people have already put the label on her, Dr. Nee, saying like she's Aunt Kamala, and putting these labels like this is what a black woman does. But at the end of the day, does she come in there trying to govern the debate, trying to govern his behavior in that space? Does she say things like, "Hey, Mr. Former President, are you going to answer the question? Mr. Former President, that doesn't sound like you have any ideas." Like, does she come in there and regulate the whole situation?
I don't think her job is to come in and moderate the debate. I think ABC News will have their hands full trying to make sure that the rules that were agreed upon are actually enforced. Mm-hmm. I think her job is to come to that debate and to use every opportunity to create a contrast between not just her and the former president, but the vision for the future. He ain't got no vision for the future that people are really invested in, right? Not people of conscience.
Right.
I mean, Project 2025, is a disaster. Project 2025 really erodes the hard-won, hard-fought civil rights, human rights, civil liberties that folks really cherish. And I think we can expect the vice president during the debate to really put the microscope under Project 2025, right? The president can run away from it all he wants to. He can try and differentiate himself and say, "Hey, I'm no longer connected to this project," but that doesn't make it true. We know that there are a number of former Trump administration officials that were a part of the development of Project 2025.
Yeah.
And we know that should he get another term in office, that is his plan, because the Republican platform doesn't give us any clues, right? It's not a real thing, right? Project 2025 and 1776, are the clearest picture of what he intends to do, aside from what he's already done. And so her job is to go there on that debate stage and shine a light on Project 2025, that remind people who might have conveniently adopted some amnesia as to, what the Trump years were really about, and how people across this country and across the political spectrum have actually lost ground and not gained ground. Her job is to get up there and to illuminate a stark contrast between MAGA America and the kind of America that I think people are hungry for, an America that doesn't make them cringe, doesn't make them look over their shoulder, doesn't foment hate, but really instill some confidence that our best years are ahead of us.
Throughout this process, and I know we got a few moments left, Dr. Nee, but I want to get your take on this. I saw that the Republican Party had put out some instructions for this former president, for his vice presidential nominee, to not, and for others who are in campaign mode, to not focus on gender, to not focus on race. It looks like it looked like Trump just didn't get that memo. So with that considered, do you think, and as Dr. Calvin said, some of his old tactics, but do you think that is going to play a significant role in how this former president characterized the vice president?
I think the former president is going to do what the former president's going to do. I don't think there's any taming former President Trump, and I think that's a part of the problem. He doesn't have the necessary discipline in order to even execute the plan that they have, and if they have a plan. The former president is sitting in Mar-a-Lago stewing over the fact that he's not running against Biden. He's stewing over the fact that he is losing ground in the polls. He's stewing over the fact that he made a VP pick that doesn't seem to be working out so well for him. And he's out there saying weird stuff. He's out there, trying to roll up on the vice president's contingent from Air Force Two. He's over there trying to do some wild stuff.
Did you see that? Hey, Doc.
I did. And it's a mess. It's a mess. And I think as long as Vice President Harris and Governor Walz stick to their plan and illuminate that contrast, not just between the character of the candidates that are running, but the substance.
Yeah.
Well, what have they done? Because talk is cheap.
Right.
And there's a lot of talk coming out of the Trump-Vance campaign,
right.
But I would imagine the vice president will have a lot of receipts, and so will Governor Walz. And I think that might make a difference, particularly on the debate stage.
Absolutely. We got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's continue to have the conversation. Dr. Nee and Dr. Calvin, y'all both talked about Project 2025. Let's talk a little bit more about that. On the other side, as the chief architect of Project 2025, Russell Voigt. He is, according to the Associated Press, he's ready to shock Washington if Donald Trump wins a second term. He's looking to get some sort of high-profile position. And he sees Project 2025 as the map that will lead to a conservative victory in some sort, and he is weaponizing policies against those who are political enemies of the former president and his vision for America. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Also on the other side, let's talk about how President Joe Biden has come out in a recent interview earlier this week saying that he's not confident at all that there will be a peaceful transfer of power if Trump loses this election. More to talk about with Dr. Calvin John Smiley, Dr. Nee Corte, and of course with you. I'm Farajii Muhammad. This is Areva Martin in real time here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Donald Trump says he'd rather be running against Vice President Kamala Harris than President Biden. At a press event from his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida, Trump criticized Harris's record on crime and other issues.
Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen.
This was his first public appearance since Harris became the nominee and selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. New Jersey flags will fly at half-staff starting on Friday in honor of Justice James H. Coleman Jr., who passed away last week at 91. Acting Governor Way calls Coleman a lifelong trailblazer and says his life embodies the intertwined history of inequality and progress in our country. Coleman was born the son of a sharecropper in racially segregated Virginia and broke down racial barriers when he became the first black justice to serve on the state Supreme Court in 1994. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
As we see how Orange County's roadways are looking, not very far from the Orange Crush interchange, where the 57, 22, and 5 freeways all meet. 57 southbound at Orangewood, it's an accident. It's not blocking lanes, everything over on the right-hand shoulder. 57 south is slow going from Lambert Road to the Orange Crush. 57 northbound, you're slow from the Crush up to Chapman and Fullerton, then up ahead more delays, leaving Brea heading through the Brea Canyon on the 57 north from Lambert Road to the 60.
Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2024.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
We came very close to seeing one of the more monumental upsets in Olympics history. The U.S. men's basketball team had to erase a 13-point deficit in the third quarter to beat Serbia Thursday afternoon in the semifinals of the Summer Olympics in Paris. Team USA, with clutch performances by LeBron James, Joel Embiid, and Steph Curry, beat Serbia by 4 to advance to the gold medal game on Saturday. The U.S. will play the host country France for the gold. If Curry didn't have a hot hand, we might be giving you a very different report right now. Curry finished with 36 points, including 9 of 14 three-pointers. Embiid scored 7 of his 19 in the fourth quarter to spark the comeback. LeBron had a triple-double with 16 points, 10 assists, and 12 rebounds. LeBron and Curry combined to score 11 straight points in the fourth quarter to bring Team USA back. Team USA versus France on Saturday for the gold. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, yo, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys.
Let's take our auntie to the swap meet.
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
In California, the use of man-made stone is causing workers to get silicosis. Silicosis is a fatal disease caused by breathing in silica dust from cutting, polishing, or grinding man-made stone. To prevent silicosis, employers must provide their workers proper equipment, including water systems and NIOSH-approved respirators. Stop dusty and deadly practices. Learn more at worksafewithsilica.org. This is a message from Cal OSHA.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us for a book party celebrating The Covenant with Black America 20 years later. Almost 2 decades ago, the Covenant book, compiled and edited by Tavis Smiley, climbed to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list and stayed there for weeks. The first book by a black-owned publisher to achieve such a feat. The urgency of the issues that matter most to black fellow citizens has only intensified, especially in this critical election year. On Wednesday evening, August 14th, 6 to 9 p.m., come meet Tavis Smiley alongside Covenant contributors including Cornel West, Connie Rice, Mark Ridley Thomas, Elisa Orduna, Tyrone Howard, and Melina Abdullah as they sign copies of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later. You can purchase your books on site and get them autographed. That's Wednesday evening, August 14th, 6 to 9 p.m. in the city of Los Angeles. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back into the conversation with Dr. Calvin John Smiley and Dr. Nicordelai Corte. I'm your special guest host, Farajii Muhammad, sitting in for my sister Areva Martin here on In Real Time, here on KBLA Talk 1580. Let's get back into the conversation, and we just finished just talking a little bit about this big debate now that former President Donald Trump will be having with Vice President Harris on September the 10th on ABC. And this should be one for the record books. Certainly, I believe the last debate that the former president was in was against President Joe Biden, and it garnered over 50 million people tuning into that debate. the debate that had started the avalanche of calls for President Biden to step down and to make that historic decision that he did do. And as a result of that, that's how we have the official nominee for President of the United States on the Democratic ticket, Vice President Harris. Now, let me go to the phone lines very quickly. Let me get my sister Mimi checking in all the way from the great city of Jacksonville, Florida. Mimi, thank you so much for checking in here on Areva Martin in real time. What do you make of this? Talk to me, Mimi.
Hi, Farajii.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm excited about this debate. I am so ready to vote. I'm ready.
Gotcha.
I'm just wondering, since she's finally agreed to debating him, and he's such an erratic person, and she's not, and this is the thriller in Manila, is she supposed to just come at him and just punch him in the mouth, or is she supposed to let him come to her and then punch him in the mouth?
That's a great question, Mimi, my sister. Thank you so much for checking in, and I see you on as you're part of the conversation as we're streaming live on KBLA 15 on YouTube. Dr. Nicordelai Corte, what do you say of that? What's the strategy? Does she punch the former president in the mouth?
No, she does not punch the former president in the mouth. She is a black woman, and let's not act like we don't have to be aware of some of the unfair ways in which folks view us when we even go toe-to-toe with them. Her job is to create a contrast between her and the former president. And her job is to be clear. Her job is to be calm. Her job is to be precise. We don't need people getting caught up in this isn't about getting style points. This is about substance. Because if it was about style, then the former president would be winning in the polls, and it doesn't seem to be going in that direction.
And so this is about substance, and I'm wondering, and I want to just, Dr. Calvin, if this is about substance, which I believe it should be, but we often do frame these debates as based upon what Dr. D said, that we shouldn't be based upon how the person looked, how they sounded, whether they stumbled over their words. Like, I don't know if a lot of Americans tune into the debate to hear policy talk. But what do you say about that, Dr. Calvin?
Well, I think it's a mix. I think it's a mix in the sense that some people are certainly there to kind of hear about key issues, right?
Yeah.
Not that everyone's a single issue voter, but there are going to be certain issues based on one's demographic and whatever that they're going to be tuned in or locked in for that.
Right.
And then there's certainly going to be the kind of performative nature of it. As we probably all saw across social media recently, the way that Vice President Harris dealt with protesters at her rally in Michigan. And there's been a lot of fever and discussion about, could she have done that differently versus the kind of shutting them down or just saying, I'm speaking. And so certainly there is a lot of both sides of it. There's certainly going to be a policy side for it. Maybe not every policy is going to be looked at or scrutinized and by every single watcher. And there's certainly going to be the performative nature of it. What are facial expressions like when the other one is speaking? Are they cutting each other off? And as Dr. Nee said, where Vice President Harris is at a disadvantage is the history of America of being a black woman, where she is certainly not going to be given the same type of latitude and rope to make those same type of mistakes and or punching him in the face, right? I mean, even just if she even was to joke in jest about that, that would be headline news. Meanwhile, if we recall Donald Trump talking about how he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and no one would do anything. And even to this day, I mean, the man was convicted in New York, where I'm at, 34 counts. Why is he not in jail? Where's the fine? Like, what is going on? Because, like, now I'm just thinking, is this a new precedent? People get convicted of a crime and they just go on and do whatever they want to do?
Come on, Dr. Carver. No, sir.
Well,
No, sir.
That's what I'm saying, right?
I've never heard of a black man walking around with that many felonies.
Right. So there's clearly a white privilege that Vice President Harris is going to have to navigate. And I think that, as Dr. Nee said, and as I said earlier, stick to the facts, stick to your points, be clear, concise. Let him look like a fool, right? In the same way that Donald Trump allowed President Biden to kind of fall on that sword with stumbling over words, forgetting things, Vice President Harris can do the same things to Donald Trump. Let him just go around the world across the street, and if she counters that with direct responses to the questions, people are going to see that parallel. And again, Donald Trump's entire kind of moniker was he was the young guy up against the old guy. He can't use that position anymore.
Absolutely
He's not the young guy.
No, he's actually the old guy, and he's the old guy with a bunch of felonies. I wanna before we take our next quick pause, I do want to kind of get the conversation started around Project 2025, because Dr. Nee, this is something you said that this should be the focus of Project 2025. This 900-page document, where we're talking about restructuring the government and taking this idea, this experiment, the American democracy experiment, to a whole different place. Russell Vought, who is the chief architect of Project 2025, he is sounding the alarm. He is using certain words and terminology to marshal troops for combat with this situation. Dr. Nee, I want to kind of get your take on this. Now that people are talking about Project 2025, and then he also has the Heritage Foundation has also created a transition plan for the transition of the Trump administration from the Biden administration if Trump wins. But talk to me about, what do you foresee happening to Project 2025? Where does this thing go? If Trump does win, do you see it being enacted, from day one? If he does not win, then will this be a plan that will be distributed and enacted on a statewide level? What's your say about that, Doc?
That's a really great question, Farajii. I mean, Project 2025 is something serious, and people don't write a 900-page plan only to discard it in the trash bin if they don't win. I think you're absolutely right. If Vice President Harris is victorious in November, what happens to Project 2025? I think they could shift their focus to states across the country. We know that groups like Moms for Liberty have been operating, for cycle after cycle. About 50% of their candidates have one office cycle after cycle, right? And part of what's in Project 2025, surprise, surprise, is also consistent with what Moms for Liberty's plan is. And so, Project 2025 is here to stay. And I think the greatest pushback against it will be the result of the November election.
Wow. Look, we're going to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's talk a little bit more about Project 2025. I'm joined by my brothers, Dr. Calvin John Smiley and Dr. Nee Cortez. And with you, folks, stay with us. This is Areva Martin in real time. I'm Farajii Muhammad, and you're tuned in to KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Join Black Women for Wellness 25th Annual Reproductive Justice Conference on August 15th at the California Endowment Center. Unite to protect Black women's rights and become an advocate for change. Tickets on sale now at bwwla.org. That's bwwla.org.
Chevy Radio 30 before and after, code GWMR0254000.
With the incredibly spacious 3-row Chevy Traverse, you can change
Let's just meet at the concert.
into
Why don't I pick all you guys up on the way?
the advanced safety engineered Chevy Blazer EV lets you turn
You think we should turn back?
into
Full steam ahead.
And with the affordable Equinox EV,
Keep an eye out for the next Charger, kids.
becomes,
Get comfortable, kids. We'll be home in 4 hours.
for summer adventures, Chevy's got you.
Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Getting connected has never been easier. Get free Wi-Fi at all LA County library locations, inside the library and outside in the parking lots. Visit your local library and get connected today.
Hey LA, today I'm here to talk to you about Grid Alternatives, which is a nonprofit in LA that focuses on renewable energy. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. We offer paid job training, and in 13 weeks, you can become a solar installer. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry, and once you're hired in the industry, you stop at a high, medium income. That could be $20 an hour or more. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry. Call today so you don't be left out at 323-861-0105 or gridalternatives.org, gridalternatives.org.
We're not just a thermometer recording and broadcasting popular opinion. We aim to be a thermostat, transforming the conversation about climate justice in our community. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's right, folks, and you're listening to Farajii Muhammad as a special guest host for Areva Martin in real time, joined by my brothers, Dr. Calvin John Smiley, as well as Dr. Nicola Corte. Let's talk a little bit about Project 2025, the major document that's come from the Heritage Foundation, which serves as a conservative blueprint to change the government. And one of the architects of Project 2025, Russell Voigt, he has been at the center of this whole controversial conservative blueprint to really remake the government. According to the reports, he's likely, if Trump wins, I want y'all to really hear me. If Trump wins, Voigt is likely to be appointed to a high-ranking post in a second Trump administration. As I mentioned earlier, and Dr. Nicola Corte said, he's also been drafting a quote-unquote secret 180-day transition playbook. But Mr. Voigt said that he's looking to be in the inner circle of the former president if Trump wins. He has advised influential conservative lawmakers on Capitol Hill. He's held a top post in the Trump White House. And he also has established his own pro-Trump think tank. And now he's being mentioned as a candidate to be Trump's White House chief of staff, which is, of course, one of the most powerful positions in government. Dr. Calvin John Smiley, talk to me, brother. What are we seeing here in America where you have actors, individuals like a Russell Voigt, who is very well known, who is not being secretive about his intentions, who can essentially, if Trump wins, he can assume a post where he is working against the experiment of American democracy? How does that happen?
Well, I think that this is just a manifestation of not simply a Donald Trump, but of a longer legacy of racial tension in America. If we want to go all the way back to the end of the Civil War, or with the civil rights movement in the mid-20th century and the whole Southern strategy. But what I find really interesting about the Project 2025 is that it's all of the federal parts of the federal government that either wronged Trump or felt Trump felt wronged by, and then also this kind of hearkening back to this kind of yesteryear. So it kind of becomes the culmination of that "Make America Great Again."
Mm-hmm.
So it is scary, certainly, but what I always hold on to, right, because when I talk to my mother, other people about this, is that this isn't the first time where something like this has happened in America or something has been tried like this in America. And every time there is always resistance to it. I want us to all know that even if Trump is elected, even if this guy is put into a position of that amount of power, it's not like we all just roll over and die and we just wait for that kind of apocalypse to happen. We organize, we take to the streets, we make sure that those who are the most vulnerable are protected and cared for, and we use a multi-pronged strategy towards resistance. One of those prongs is voting, but there are other prongs in the chamber, as we'll say, that we can certainly turn towards if needed, right? The end of slavery, let's just put it this way, slavery didn't end because white folks voted it out, right? And so we certainly know that there is a precedent in America for marginalized people, minoritized folks, to fight back and resist white supremacy and white hegemony.
Dr. Nee Cortez, what say you, sir?
You know, I agree with Dr. Calvin 100%. That and I actually end every show on a More Perfect Union saying, "Don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have." And certainly, we have seen folks on the right that have been doing exactly that for many years. They've been organizing to get to take over the federal judiciary. They've been organizing to take over state houses across the country. They have been organized to take over governors' mansions, and their organizing work has paid off pretty well. But I think the MAGA movement may have awakened a silent majority that's not so silent anymore. When's the last time you saw, white dudes organizing for a black woman running for president? When's the last time you saw Nikki Haley voters who've been out in the wilderness finding safe passage with the Harris Walz campaign? We're seeing things that a lot of folks said could never happen. And I think to the extent that Vice President Harris leans into that, to the extent that Governor Walz leans into that in this campaign, I think we're going to see a tectonic shift in our politics, or at least we have the opportunity to.
And Dr. Nee, what do you say to President Biden's warning, or rather concern, that he expressed earlier this week on Wednesday, where he had sat down with CBS News, and he made the point that he's not confident at all that there will be a peaceful transfer of power if Trump loses. The president said he means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there will be a bloodbath. What do you say about that? Does that should the president have not put that out there, especially when you do have this Harris Walz momentum building, especially when you do have, because we know that the Trump Vance ticket is predicated on fear, whereas the Harris Walz ticket is based on freedom. So how does that fit into the larger conversation?
Well, I think one of the most solemn duties of any president is to keep the American people safe. Yeah. And to hear our sitting president, President Biden, say during that CBS interview that he is not confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power, I hear that as a call to action to the Democratic base, to our fellow Americans, people of conscience, to make their voices heard at the ballot, so that it's not a close election. We have the opportunity to make it a decisive win, and I think President Biden is encouraging us to do so.
Absolutely. And Dr. Calvin, as we have black listeners listening to this program, and your work is dealing with inequality and race and politics. How do you think that all of this should resonate with the black voters across this country? If we're talking about the looming threat of Project 2025, and then you have our sitting Democratic president who is saying, hey, look, he's not confident about this. And then we do know how high the stakes are for Vice President Harris being literally at the threshold of history of possibly becoming the first black woman to be president of the United States. We know what that felt like when Barack Obama made that ascension. He ascended to that seat. So for black voters, what's the frame of mind that we should be in over these next few months?
I'll say this. I'll say one, I think Joe Biden is absolutely correct. Precedent shows that Donald Trump is thinking that this is a race of heads I win, tails you lose. And to black voters, vote your conscience. Demand from the officials. Yes, we want to see the first black woman president, but that doesn't mean that we cannot hold her or her vice president nominee, Walz, to a high standard, right? No one just gets this position of president, but we should be out in the streets demanding that there are things on the agenda and policies that are going to be put into place that are going to benefit us, not simply voting because there's only two options, right? But voting in a demanding way that, yes, we are putting you in this position because we want to see our needs, not big banks, not big pharma, not foreign countries being put first, but our needs are put first. And the needs of people around the globe that look like us or experiencing the things that we're experiencing, right? Injustice and harm and things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Calvin John Smiley, Associate Professor for the Department of Sociology at Hunter Cooney. We appreciate you, brother, for joining us today. Dr. Nee Cortez, host of A More Perfect Union here on KBLA Talk 1580 and author of the Amazon bestseller, Kamala, the Motherland and Me. Dr. Nee, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you, both of you,
great
brothers.
being with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, brothers, and we look forward to reconnecting soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Folks, stay tuned. Up next, more conversation on the other side here on Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. One of the security guards accused of killing a black man outside of a Milwaukee hotel has turned himself in. Todd Erickson is one of 4 hotel employees facing felony murder charges for the death of Devontae Mitchell back in June. The men allegedly restrained Mitchell until he died after he reportedly caused a disturbance inside the hotel. Police are still looking for the other 3 suspects, a security guard, a bellhop, and the front desk agent. An advanced placement African American Studies course will be offered in Georgia's largest school district this year, despite recent issues brought up by the state school superintendent. Richard Woods previously said the class violated the state's divisive concepts law. The attorney